What's up, money growers? Jacob back here with another video, hoping that you are growing your money today and every day. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about 6 things you need to know before you apply for that first Navy Federal credit card. Some of these things I'm going to share with you are things that could hurt you. Some of these I'm going to share with you are things that could help you. But either way, by the end of this video, you're going to be glad that you know these things when it comes to applying for your credit card. The first thing we're going to talk about is bad information given by their customer service reps. Now, in my experience with talking to Navy Federal's reps over the phone, they have always been courteous. But that is not what I'm talking about when I mention the customer service lacking in this instance. The issue really is that even though they may be nice, oftentimes the information you get from one rep to another can be drastically different. When I first started with Navy Federal, I really didn't notice this a whole lot, but the more and more phone calls I made, the more and more times I talked to their customer service rep and learned about their system and how some of their operations worked, the more I learned over time that some reps were giving very incorrect information out. The worst experience I've had with this, and I've shared this before on the channel, so some of you have been watching for a while have probably seen this story, where when I applied for my first ever credit limit increase with Navy Federal on my flagship card, the rep told me that not only was I denied the credit limit increase, she also told me there was no reconsideration option for me and told me I had to wait months before I could even apply again for another credit limit increase. Fortunately for me, I ended up talking with another representative later who actually looked into the situation for me and found out that I had not been denied the credit limit increase request, only Navy Federal was wanting more documentation from me. Even though Navy Federal never told me or notified me of this, this rep found out. They wanted more documentation. I submitted that documentation. It took a while, but after about a month, I was able to get the credit limit increase request that I had initially made. Next up, we will talk about product switch. This is something that lots of people who are particularly new to credit cards don't realize you can even do. So just because you apply for one credit card does not mean you have to keep that exact same card for life. Some people will choose to go ahead and close down a credit card account if it belongs to a card that they do not plan on using anymore in the future. I generally do not recommend that. That is a mistake that I made years ago when I closed out 2 credit cards I had, and before I knew anything about credit cards and realized the impact it would have on my age of credit. So I generally do not recommend doing that, but sometimes people do that. What is likely a better option is simply switching out one credit card for another. You can simply call in to Navy Federal and ask to have this done. Let's say that you went ahead and applied for Navy Federal's Platinum card because you love the fact that it has 0% interest on balance transfers for 12 months. Even though after those 12 months, the APR will still be low on that card, you are going to be now paying for that balance transfer. And since the Platinum card earns 0 rewards points, 0 cash back, or anything like that with Navy Federal, you might want to look into switching to something like a Cash Rewards, a More Rewards, even a Go Rewards, or the Flagship card. From the feedback that I've gotten from you guys in the comments section of my videos, Navy Federal used to make people wait an entire year before doing a product switch, but that seems to have been lifted. They seem to have updated that policy because several of you have told me down in the comments before that you did not have to wait a year before switching to another card. But do keep in mind, when you switch to your new card, you cannot be able to get that sign-up bonus on your new credit card. That is ultimately for 2 reasons. One of which is that would be very costly for Navy Federal or any bank or any credit union to allow something like that to happen. Plus, people would obviously take advantage of it, and then all those nice bonuses and sign-ups and things like that, or sign-up bonuses we enjoy when it comes to credit cards, would probably be much less generous than they currently are. The second reason is that even though you are getting a new physical credit card, your account number with that card does stay the same. So although the card itself is new, the account that the card is attached to is not. This next one is absolutely awesome, but understand it is very rare that somebody at Navy Federal will make it a point to share this information with you when you're on the phone with them. Navy Federal does have a policy that allows you the person with the credit card to call in after 1 full year of having that card and make a request to have your interest rate lowered. This request is not a hard inquiry. So the good thing about it though is that if you've been using your credit card with them frequently, you've been using it responsibly, you've been showing them that you handle your money well, there's a really good chance that they're going to be offering you a lower rate. How much will they lower it by? That's a good question. I've never actually heard any sort of set amount given for how much they lower it. However, I did speak with one rep one time who told me her personal story with Navy Federal. She said the first year she made her request, or after her first year, she made the request, and they lowered it, I think, a few percentage points. And then she said after the second year, she called in, made her request then, and they lowered it down to as low as they possibly could. I'll tell you guys, I just did mine today before filming this video, and mine went from 18% down to 15.74% is what they offered me. I decided to accept it. The lowest it could go as of making this video, I believe, is 12%. So hey, maybe next year I'll get it to that point. Either way though, that's one of the very good things about Navy Federal is usually if you use their products, you show them that you can handle your money well, they will typically reward you for it. The final thing I'm gonna say about this now for getting your interest rate lowered on your credit card is that Navy Federal will not tell you that you can even do this unless you just happen to have that conversation or happens to come up in conversation with a rep. They're generally not gonna go out of their way to tell you this. And when it does come to the time's 1 year anniversary, they'll send you an email, but even that email is not going to say anything about lowering your rate. There's just an email they send you saying happy anniversary on your card, which is nice, but you still have to remember to make the phone call and ask them over the phone. I did it earlier. The actual discussion, the actual request, and getting the approval for it took less than 1 minute. The entire phone conversation was less than 5 minutes. The next thing you need to know about Navy Federal's credit cards are credit limit migration. This can be a really good tool to use if you already have a card, and let's say you're now in a spot where you're applying for your second credit card with Navy Federal. If you are looking to do a balance transfer from a card from a different company to one of your Navy Federal credit cards, you can request that between your two Navy Federal cards, you have your credit limit or part of your credit limit from one of them moved or migrated to the other Navy Federal card. Let's give an example here. You have two Navy Federal credit cards. Each one has a $15,000 limit, and you want to do a balance transfer of $7,000 to one of those Navy Federal credit cards. You're obviously not going to want an almost 50% utilization to report to the credit bureaus. So what you do is you call up Navy Federal and you ask them if they can take $10,000 from one of your credit cards and move it over or migrate it to your other Navy Federal credit card. Now, instead of each of those two cards having a $15,000 limit for $30,000 total, one card now has a $25,000 limit and the other card has a $5,000 limit. Still $30,000 total, but you move part of the limit from one card to the other card. The card that has the $25,000 limit now is the one that you're going to do your $7,000 balance transfer to. That way, the utilization shows up as lower because that card has a higher overall limit. Obviously, this is just my example. You can adjust the numbers for whatever your situation that you have in front of you. One area where Navy Federal is generous than many banks, and oftentimes other credit unions, is when it comes to the ability to be able to get a credit limit increase on your card. Some of you may have heard about the 91-3 rule with Navy Federal when it comes to making that request to have that credit limit increase on your credit card. First, understand this. It is not a hard and fast rule with Navy Federal because you can actually ask for a credit limit increase whenever you want. However, it is recommended that you wait at least 3 billing cycles before making a credit limit increase request for a couple of reasons. One of them is so that Navy Federal can collect data on you. They can see your spending habits. They can see how well you manage your money, which also becomes the next point, helps you build more rapport. That is the other idea, is that you build more rapport, you build a better relationship with them so that down the road, you increase your chances of being able to get that credit limit increase that you want. One really big thing to keep in mind when it comes to asking for this credit limit increase with Navy Federal is how you ask. When I say how, I mean the method that you use. Typically, when it comes to Navy Federal and asking for a credit limit increase, the common advice is do not ask over the phone. If you ask over the phone, there's much more likely to be a hard inquiry just for the increase. However, if you do it on the app or if you do it on the computer, which is what I did when I did mine, it's much more likely to be a soft pull if you go those two routes. So I would recommend doing it on the computer or doing it through the app. When I did it, my first one ever, it was a soft pull when I did it on the computer. And speaking of credit limit increases, another policy that Navy Federal has is that after you open a new credit card account with them, they will review your account at the 6-month mark every month automatically to see if you are eligible for a credit limit increase. Sounds amazing, right? Except for one small and incredibly important detail that Navy Federal doesn't tell anyone. Sometimes your card may have a lock on it. Your account might be locked in Navy Federal system, which prevents you from being able to even get an automatic review to have a potential increase on your credit card limits. I was very fortunate to find this out from a subscriber. Thank you guys. And when I called into Navy Federal to ask about my own account, sure enough, I spoke to the rep, and the rep over the phone did tell me that there was a lock on my account. I asked to have it lifted. The rep did tell me over the phone that the lock on my account had been lifted, but I had to call to ask. Based on my experience, I would encourage every single one of you watching this video to go ahead and call Navy Federal and make sure there is no lock, there's nothing blocking you from your card being able to get automatically reviewed to have a potential credit limit increase. If there is something I missed, please be sure to put it down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Jacob. Keep growing your money.